Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of Do Life Big. I am pumped to have you here today. Today, I'm going to be teaching you something pretty cool. This is going to be a lifesaver for you. But I'm going to be teaching you a simple life hack that one of my mentors taught me a long time ago on how to reframe your negative emotions. This is going to be everything for you. You know, so often we get really wrapped up and caught up in our negative emotions, right? We're only human. It happens all the time. We're feeling all the feelings all the time. Life is coming and going. Things are happening and things are going well, then things are not going well. And it's like a roller coaster. And it's really easy to get wrapped up in our negative emotions and let them take control. It's really easy to be, overwhelmed and stressed out and feeling anxious and saying, you're sad or just, this is too much. I just can't do this. And when we come from this place of letting these negative emotions control us, we come from a place of fear and lack, scarcity, and we aren't motivated or inspired to do anything. So instead, we just say, fuck it, and we do nothing, right? Isn't that how it works? Like we have good intentions, but then somewhere along the line, something happens, and all of a sudden we just feel like, I can't do this. I'm too stressed out. I'm way too overwhelmed. So think about how you're feeling right now in this moment, or maybe even think about a time where you had one of those negative emotions. Maybe you woke up this morning kind of like that. Maybe something happened yesterday. Maybe it was last week. Maybe not, but just kind of start to kind of pull back that moment and those emotions from that time. And just put that in your mind for a second. And I also want you to take note of this. Have you ever looked yourself in the mirror and just asked yourself how you're doing? Have you ever just checked in on yourself? Because we are so good at checking in and on everybody else and checking in on our friends and checking in on our spouse or our kids or other family members, and we neglect ourselves. And how we feel is everything. It dictates everything in your life. And so I'm challenging you to just look in the mirror and ask yourself, how are you doing? How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? And ask yourself that and just do a quick little check-in and get present to that feeling. So now you have this emotion that I just mentioned, or this time where you were feeling stressed or overwhelmed or like this is too much for me or sad or whatever it was. And this life hack is going to be something that you're going to use daily because honestly, our mind is filled with 85% negative thoughts and they're on repeat in our subconscious all day and all night long. Okay. So this life hack, you're going to use it all the time. And your emotions are actually a human lie detector test. That's the cool thing about this. The next time that you're stressed out or overwhelmed, or maybe you have that feeling right now in you, I want you to stop for a second and just be aware of it. And I want you to think. And I want you to really ask yourself, all right, what was the thought that I was thinking at that time that caused me to feel that emotion? See, because that emotion just didn't come from nowhere. You don't just become sad to become sad. You don't just become stressed and, have anxiety out of nowhere. Those are all emotions, negative emotions that are actually stemming from a negative thought that you put there. And you've chosen to believe it in that moment. And it's causing you to have this negative emotion. But we can change this by becoming aware to how am I feeling, stopping, and then saying, all right, what was that thought that I thought previous to this that caused me to have this feeling? See, if we can start to think better thoughts, then we can start to feel better and have more positive feelings. So when you have a negative emotion, all it really means is that you're choosing to believe a negative thought in that moment. And they're all lies, anyways. And this is something that you can change. It's okay. It's something that most people do. And this is also where, if you haven't downloaded my free workbook yet, you can go to kathyreuter.com/think this, not that. And I have a list of 19 of the most common negative or limiting beliefs that people think on repeat, and the thought that you should think and replace that thought with instead, a more positive, empowering belief. This is so important. Go there and download that if you don't have it yet. So you should always write down these thoughts that you have versus keeping them in your mind. Sometimes we try to work it out in our mind, like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling stressed, I'm not supposed to be feeling this way, but they're just all stored in our mind and we're trying to work through it in our mind. It doesn't work that way. It's been proven that you can get the results that you want in your life 10 times faster by just writing them down on paper. So I'm challenging you that every time that you have a negative emotion, and then you've stopped yourself and you've said, okay, what's the thought that I'm thinking? Write down the negative thought that you're thinking. So if you're someone who's like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now, and I said to you, all right, why do you feel overwhelmed? What are the thoughts that are going through your mind right now that are making you feel overwhelmed? This is what most people say, and this is where most people go wrong. They say, I have to do all this work. I have to create this content. I have to prep all my meals so I can stay on plan for my new health plan. I have to work on my offer or my business. I have to plan my projects. And they say all these things. And these are the things that they're thinking in their mind that are causing them to feel overwhelmed and stressed. And when you live this way, using all these high pressure words like I have to, I have to, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, it automatically causes internal conflict and stress. Automatically. So instead, what I want you to do, once you have your list of thoughts that are going on in your mind, because you're going to write this down too at some point when you're home, write them down, work it out. Instead, I want you to replace all those I have to's with either I get to or I choose to. And if you can start to change your internal dialogue, then you can start to change your entire world. So when you rewrite all of those phrases with the either I get to or I choose to, you would write them down and you would read them out loud to yourself. And after each line, you would take a big, deep breath. Okay. And it would go something like this. I get to create all this content. Big, deep breath. I get to plan my project today. Big, deep breath. I get to prep all of my meals today to stay on point for my health plan. And you would do that for all of your thoughts. And when you start to do that, when you start to just replace those words, that internal dialogue, with a more positive flip on things, and you also combine it with the breath, what you notice is that you are much more calmer and you're coming from a much more peaceful place. And now you're starting to reframe your emotions. You're starting to reframe your thoughts. And when you can do that, that is when life will change for you for the better. And so I'm challenging you to use this life hack as often as you can. You know what? Is it a little bit extra work? Yeah, it is. But is it worth it? Oh, hell yeah, it's worth it, because your thoughts are everything. Your thoughts are what give you the results that you see all around you. You look around you. You don't like what you see right now. You got to change your thoughts, because everything that's around you right now is the result of the thoughts that you've had of the past. And so if you want to create a different future, a more positive outlook on your future, more positive things around you, more money, better relationships, whatever it is, then you need to change your thoughts of today. And this is how you do it, by using this simple life hack. And so, yeah, grab a notebook or maybe a little journal or have some paper in your purse. And the next time that you start to feel these negative emotions, you're going to know, because you don't like the way that it makes you feel. I mean, I know I don't like to feel that way. But as soon as you start to feel that overwhelm or that stress or that anxiety or that sadness or whatever feeling it is that takes over, stop for a second. Just stop what you're doing and go through this. Go through this simple life hack. Go through and ask yourself, all right, I'm feeling really stressed out right now. What am I thinking right now in my mind? And literally write it all down. Write down the exact thoughts. Don't worry about making it look good. Don't worry about tweaking it like, or this sounds ridiculous. Whatever is literally going on in your mind, write it down on the paper. This is just for you. It's for no one else. So you write it down and then read it to yourself and then say, all right, how can I reframe this now? Let's take out all of those high pressure words, which are going to be, I have to. 99.9% of the time, it's because you're saying, I have to do this, I have to do this, or I can't do this. Replace them all, rewrite them all, and replace those have tos with I get to or I choose to. And then read each line and do a big deep breath at the end of each line. If you can start to make this part of your routine, your thoughts will automatically start to change. You will automatically start to be the person who can catch themselves and reframe their thoughts on the spot so that you're thinking more positive thoughts. And when you think more positive thoughts, you're going to get more positive outcomes and you're going to feel better. But checking in on yourself with how you're feeling is so important and you can't ignore it, right? Don't be putting yourself on the back burner. Check in on yourself. Use this simple life hack, and I hope it helps. Let me know when you try it out. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear. And thank you so much for being here today. You know I love you. I think you're awesome. And I'll see you the next time. All right, bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Like, do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.